Hey everybody, welcome to 1 year of the Club Kayfabe podcast. That's right, a whole year of us talking about sweaty dudes grappling each other. Got your attention yet, Jay? And, as always, I'm joined by two other guys, because I can't do anything without other guys around. First of all is Dampek.
You are gonna hold his noodle.
Ugh. And, not Howard Finkel, but Chris O'Mealy.
Hey guys, happy May 19th.
Don't say that date.
What date? May 19th? It's just a date, Kane.
I think May 19th is a great day for our horror movie to debut. It's a great day to open our horror movie.
See no evil. See no evil.
Let the Marine come out in October. The horror movie belongs in mid-May.
We got a pretty stacked show with a lot of stuff to go through, so we're gonna get right into our reviews, and we'll do our anniversary stuff as part of the Q&A, because y'all got some anniversary cues for us.
You ready for Raw and SmackDown? You ready for that all at once, kids?
Here we go, guys.
Nothing happened on these shows. The Shield attacked Evolution. Evolution attacked the Shield. Adam Rose did things.
Fight.
The Evolution and Shield show.
Yes.
That was pretty much all it was. And then SmackDown, even more nothing happened. One of the best things on the show are what Adam Rose is doing and what Three Man Band are doing, and Evolution versus the Shield is like the top written angle on the show. And Daniel Bryan goes away, but they don't strip the title from him, but they want to make it feel like it, and then they have Kane destroy him. It's just not a good week for wrestling, so there's not really too much to talk about.
You know, that's ironic. Do you remember our first episode where all we did was talk about how we were going to paint these shows in a positive light, and then we proceeded to spend an hour bitching about them?
But is it
We've come full circle.
Is it me, or does it feel like they're just on autopilot right now? Like, they don't know what's going on with Daniel Bryan, so they're just...
Wrestling
They don't know what's
sucks.
going on with Batista. They don't know what's going on with CM Punk.
That's okay. At least their talent's getting paid.
They're in this weird holding pattern where they're afraid to move forward, but they're trying to move forward at the same time. And then they just lost their star, that the only star they've invested in other than John Cena in how long?
That's going to bite them in the ass.
And now John Cena will get pushed back to the top again, and they'll be like, well, see? We tried to push somebody else, it just didn't work. So...
let's talk about NXT, because stuff
let's
happened
do
there.
that. NXT. The lights, the crowd, whatever the fuck that's...
Dollar sign!
With your boom, boom, boom. Our first matchup on NXT this week is...
Telephone call.
Hello. This is me speaking. You kick my dog, and now he needs operation. The Ascension faces some jobbers. 2-minute squash. Victor likes Danzig. They grab a mic and they say, we're tired of these jabrones. So out comes El Local and Callisto, who have done about as much as the other jabronis have done, but we're supposed to believe they have a chance against Victor and Connor. I don't understand. And it's obviously Ricardo Rodriguez. He's like, hello, Alberto Del Rio. I'm El Local.
Who's that slightly chunky luchador?
Alberto Del NXT Tag Team Championship match. Anyway, Sami Zayn is backstage and he's like, I get obsessed with things, new girl. I was obsessed with the title. I didn't win it. I was obsessed with beating Cesaro. I didn't beat him either. And now I'm obsessed with that ass. I'm obsessed with the title again. So I'm gonna win the three-way match tonight. Or am I? Not really. Spoilers. NXT Women's Championship Tournament match as Alexa Bliss takes on Charlotte with Sasha. And I didn't see last week's episode because I was out of town. And the first thing I noticed about Alexa Bliss is the knee pads aren't quite right.
That's what he noticed.
Yes.
I loves me some Alexa Bliss, by the by.
Well, her glitter sirs.
Yeah, her glitters are.
Didn't we talk
Wrestle,
about that
wrestle,
last week?
wrestle.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course we did.
Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Nothing. It was a solid match actually, but nothing steps out. Charlotte wins after hitting "Bow Down to the Queen," which is not wordy enough for a finisher. That's what their little mini blockbuster's called, apparently. And we've already had a backfire on the "you can name your own finishers" rule that they instituted like 3 weeks ago. Oops, never mind. Tyler Breeze cuts a promo solo into his phone. "You need to be gorgeous to be NXT champion, and it's scientifically proven Canadians lack the proper DNA to be good looking. It's a country full of Michael Ceras." Next is the Mojo Rawley match. Are you hyped?
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember this happening.
He fought Aiden English. And again, another problem with Mojo Rawley's character. Now he's not facing jobbers. He's facing actual NXT superstars, the future of the WWE. And the problem is he has to make them seem viable opponents while he's doing his Ultimate Warrior gimmick of blowing everybody down. And guess what? That's hard to do when your gimmick is you blow everybody over. But anyway, Mojo wins with the ass smash combo.
After a couple of rest holds.
Dude, you gotta be careful with that. You said that Mojo did a lot of blowing, and then you said ass.
The ass
so,
smash.
so Shin, who claims he's not listening, just tuned in.
He's not just getting hyped.
He's not just getting dick.
Stays dick.
Our next matchup is Angelo Dawkins versus Colin Cassidy. CJ Parker shows up in the crowd with a sign that says "No extra toxins," and on
Yes.
the back it says "This sign is recyclable."
One of the best parts of the show.
And Big Cass wins with a spinning side slam. JBL is actually at NXT this week, but he's backstage. Bo shows up, hands him a stack of letters, and says that his fans say he should be #1 contender. JBL says he should give those letters to CJ Parker so he can recycle them.
Oh, he also said they called in on his hotline, too.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask a question about JBL on NXT, by the way? He took the women's title off Paige, right?
Yeah.
And put it in a tournament because he said her being on WWE television was going to take away from her being on NXT. And then he entered WWE television divas into this tournament as well. Why?
3 of them.
Right.
I don't know. It's JBL. But anyway, JBL says, "Okay, I can't just give you a title shot, but if you beat your next opponent, you will get another title shot. But if you lose, you will leave NXT for good." Bo is upset at the prospect of leaving NXT, even though that's the entire point of NXT.
By the way, did you know, Bo, that they've been running vignettes for you to debut?
For like a month now. Bo's like, "Who am I facing?" He's like, "I'll give you 5 guesses." And he goes, "John Cena." JBL's like, "What? PK Wall Street?" And I'm just like, "Dad!" It's gonna be Big E, and it ain't today. It's probably next week.
It's next week, and then Friday on SmackDown, Bo's going to debut. Bo.
It's gonna be great. Loses on NXT, and then the next day he's on.
He's gonna debut on SmackDown? Oh man, that means
It's
I
like Jeff Jarrett.
Anyway, our final match, the main event, triple threat #1 contenders match: Tyson Kidd versus Tyler Breeze versus Sami Zayn. All I can really say is watch this match.
Because it was good.
Watch it. Something I noticed is that they really need to clean off the ring mat during the shows. There was one part where like Tyson Kidd went down face first, and there's like all this shit all over the ring, and I'm just like, what the? Someone just grab a broom in between matches or something. There was that one show when a CJ Parker's dreads came out and broke, and the pieces of dread were in the ring for the entire rest of the show. Yeah, there's some sick
And they were
people.
there the following week and the week after. It was weird.
Just, yeah, people. Come on. Helluva
People!
Okay. Tyson Kidd's on the top rope. Helluva kicked to Breeze in the corner. Kidd sends Zayn to the outside. Hits a big elbow on Breeze, and Tyson Kidd is #1 contender for the NXT Championship at TakeOver.
Did you say Tyson Breeze?
Tyson Kidd, Tyler Breeze, Tyler Kidd, Tyson Breeze.
It's all
Sami
interchangeable.
Zayn.
Fabrice
Elbow drop
Breeze.
McGillicuddy.
Tyson Kidd versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship at TakeOver.
Which is going to be a pretty cool match.
It'll be a great match, but Tyson Kidd's not winning it.
So, I have a little bit of a bonus review, though. I went on Mother's Day to go see Fozzy perform in Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey. And it was an excellent show, but what I had on Mother's Day was something that I'm going to call an MOM, which is a mark-out moment, because when I went with Joey Image and Jason Shin, big surprise, people that we have on the show all the time. We went to the concert, and there was a wrestling fanatic loser that happened to be at a bunch of events we were at before at this show, and she stood in the very front of the crowd the entire night, even when no one else was around, for like 4 or 5 other shitty acts that performed before Fozzy took the stage, just so she could be front and center. And during the show, she kept snapping at Chris Jericho to come near her when he put the mic out to the crowd to sing along, so that she could grab the mic, because she had told Joe before the show happened that she knew Jericho, and he was supposed to invite her onto the stage to sing during the concert, which was not going to happen in a million years. Never going to happen.
Wait, is this somebody I know?
No.
Okay.
So then, at one point, you know how like when they're singing on stage, sometime they'll slowly move their hand upward as they're like finishing that last note. Well, Jericho was doing that, and as he's singing, I see her hand reach up, because you can. The crowd wasn't that big. It was only like you only fit about 150, 200 people in Dingbats. So he's lifting his hand, and I see her hand going along right with him. I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. And she's trying to touch his hand, and the second that her hand's about to touch his, he just pulls back, and the song ends. And it was the funniest thing in the world. It was so great, because I could feel all of her hopes and dreams just die in that moment.
It's okay. She knows
Takes
him
pleasure in
personally.
the misfortunes of others.
And Jeritroll, who is amazing, he noticed that she kept trying to get his attention, so what does he do when they finally do their cover of Eat the Rich to close the show? She snaps for him to bring the microphone next to her. He goes next to the guy right next to her and lets him sing into the microphone and pulls it back. It's hilarious.
He's not stupid. He knows his stupid mark when he sees one. Oh, that's awesome.
So that's my MOM for Mother's Day, mark out moment at the Fozzy concert. By the way, if they're coming to your town, go see them. It only cost us like $20 for the show. It was, I mean, the opening bands were not great, but Fozzy themselves are fantastic.
Awesome. So, this week's Troll Truth, you guys, is our @CK game. And we're going to get this out of the way first, because, oh my god.
Got me like, oh my god.
When we first came up with the concept of this game, some like 15, 16 weeks ago, we were all...
I think it's years. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, all gigantic at midnight marks. One of the things we came up with was going to be Log Cabin Lies. And
Yeah.
I put this off because I figured it was going to be a big one. And I decided, oh, what better place to do this than our 1-year anniversary show. And after I posted it and started seeing you guys actually posting stuff, I instantly regretted it, because this is way too much in one show than I ever planned on addressing. But we're going to let Pat and Dan here decide. The stipulations, just so you guys know, was that you had to come up with your best Log Cabin lie. It could be based on something he actually said, or something you believe that he would say.
Or
And
as
some of
I
these
saw,
are pretty good.
all direct quotes.
Yes, a lot of direct quotes. So
I have not seen any of this. This is going to be great.
So, even if it is a direct quote, I mean, if Pat and Dan decide to award you points, good for you, because, yeah, these are all great. And, of course, I have to read them in Hey Man voice.
Oh,
'Cause
God.
there's no other way to do it.
Okay, man.
Matt Awesome, this week is primed for you to get points. I hope you didn't mess this up. You may get to 0.
Alright, here we go. Our very first log cabin lie is... Nobody cares about Marvel films. DC Universe is far superior.
Oh, you get points. That's a real line. That's inspired by a true story. A false true story.
Yeah, true lies.
Yeah. Nobody cares about Marvel
That's
films,
inspired by true lies.
and yet all he does is review Marvel films.
It's because that's all there is out there.
So, Matt Hardman, you get points. You're the first one.
Of many.
Okay.
I have a feeling everyone's getting points.
It's going to be a generous week for points. Okay, our next quote is... Nobody cares any more or less about Brock Lesnar than before he won because he's not there.
Which is a total lie, which means you get points because you fit that, and I think that's a direct quote.
Yes. From
All you
Scott
had to
Glazer.
do... Did people just go to his Facebook page or have a conversation with him?
Some people did, and they got really angry when they did because they ended up having to read some of this stuff. That's why everybody gets sympathy points.
Oh, that's why there were all these topics about this week on the message board, was because this was the CK game.
Yeah.
I get it now. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next entry. I hover hand because I care.
I have morals. Points.
Right. Ellis Holmes points. I respect women. I have only ever been with one.
My mom.
Okay, our next one.
I
This
won't
is
even
the-
call my dogs a bitch.
This is the dumbest Club Kayfabe game so far.
Points.
Man, you really popped for that.
That's good.
That was from Dan Dahl. That is
It's
something
gonna be
you
hard
said.
picking a winner out of it.
Alright. Here comes the next one. I tried DDP yoga once, didn't lose any weight. It's pretty useless in my book.
Points for in my book, especially.
In my book might have gotten you a front runner spot. That was from Taylor Chadwick.
Oh
Attention
man.
to detail.
Okay. Here comes our next one. In my book, 3 is way more than enough.
That may be the. Oh my god, that's a front runner. Points.
Oh, his hatred for Biggie Langston is legendary.
Who submitted that?
That would be Adrian Cotton.
This is fantastic.
Okay. Our next one. I prefer to call him Stephen Richard.
Who submitted that? Oh, it's so good.
That one was Big Jan Batista.
That's points. Oh man, this is the best week ever. Call VH1.
And get Paul F. Tompkins on the line.
Hey,
Oh, there's
Oh.
Paul F. Tompkins right there.
who uses a telephone to call? I mean,
Listen
Vince
to
uses
you,
the
I
doorbell.
am.
Jesse Ventura uses the dramatic sound.
That's just
Alright.
that's just the noise of the hatch.
Okay, here's our next submission. Why go on a date when I can see Avatar again?
Points.
That was from Dens. Also inspired by true events.
If you wanted to really put it over the top, you could have said, "Who wants to go see Scott Pilgrim on a date when I can see Avatar again with a guy?"
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that part of the story.
Yeah.
He turned down seeing Scott Pilgrim versus the World with a girl
With a girl.
to go
That was
see
interesting.
Avatar. Yeah, to go see Avatar for the 7th time with a guy.
With a guy. Again, a girl that was interested in him to see one of the best movies of that year. Turn that down to see one of the most overblown pieces of garbage in the history of the world with a guy for like the 8th time.
Right. Here's our next submission. The streak shouldn't have ended. It clearly was a fast count. It's the refs and the graphic guy's fault.
You know, I
The
almost
referee and graphics guy went into business for themselves.
did. He actually say that, or is that just inspired?
I believe that's inspired, although he initially believed it was the referee's fault.
Yeah, I'll
The
still give that
referee who
points.
did like one of the slowest 3 counts of all time
Yeah.
was doing a fast
Really.
count.
Yeah.
I'll give that points too.
All right, so then it's official. Matt Awesome is out of the negatives.
He gets to be listed as 0.
Okay. Our next one. I think people who don't get sick often have it much worse when they do get sick. I've got my once-a-year cold right now, and it hits so brutally it makes me wish I was dead. Slept 14 hours, and it felt like 14 minutes.
This is
Can't
a
eat,
copy and paste because
Can
I
hardly
saw
drink
this
water.
like 2 weeks ago.
And I've had such a bad headache, I could barely focus on my computer screen, let alone play games.
You know-
I hate this.
You know, normally I don't give points for the lazy answer, but this is really funny. Points.
Who can?
That was a direct copy and paste job.
All right, next one. This group is irrelevant.
Yes.
I know we're all indie commentators and fans, right?
So that one get points too? Or is Pat too busy answering the phone right now?
What
Oh,
the
let's see.
fuck, man? I'm in like a call center.
I know, and they're calling it like freaking 9 o'clock. Like, what the
I know.
fuck? Who
But
calls
that was
at
only.
9?
But Pat, that was only 3 calls. And
Oh,
three
that means
is
we
not
get
enough.
2 more.
At least.
Anyway, that entry does get points.
All right, Chevy, you get points. Okay. Our next one. Are you fucking kidding me? Insert
Points.
beautiful woman's name. Is a 2 at best. I wouldn't let her blow me.
Points. Points. So true.
Yes. That was Melissa Hatfield's entrance, and she specified by saying this is an actual thing she heard him say on many occasions in other wrestling groups, and followed that by simply stating, fucking twat.
Fucking twat.
Okay.
I think I still have my winner pegged down.
Okay. 3 more.
Gay.
Here we go. Big John Studd. Never heard of him.
Okay, points.
Points.
Has
This
he
is such a-
never heard of Big John Studd?
Big John Stewed?
Why are they fighting bagels?
Oh God, the Vegas.
So that was
Kumar.
Paul Henry Schultz. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. You are now
Noob.
on the board. Good way to debut. All right. Our next one is in reference to the new TMNT cartoon. The animation style in the new show just makes me want to barf. It looks like it was drawn by a bunch of retarded
This
kids
is
with
copy and
crayons.
pasted.
And the fact that Raphael is voicing Donatello is just wrong. The casting director for the show should have his or her throat slit.
This
But he
is-
likes the show, right? That's the ender. That he likes the show despite these things that people should die for.
would watch again. 4 or 5 stars.
Literally made me ill.
I say points.
Jason
Because-
Shin gets points.
I know that's a direct copy, but it's point worthy.
Okay. And our final entry, which are we going to have a clean sweep where everyone gets points? Here we go. This list is a complete load of shit. Damian Wayne is one of the worst comic book characters ever made. He shouldn't be anywhere near the top of this list. Dick Grayson and Tim Drake are the only two options for number one. I'd give the spot to Tim only because Dick is better suited to the roles of Nightwing and Batman.
Oh, so he knows where Dick belongs, huh?
So, am I giving points to Matt Awesome? Is that what I'm doing here?
No, Matt Awesome already got points.
Oh, he did. What was his again? I'm sorry.
His was the one about how it was all the ref and the graphic guy's fault that the streak ended.
Oh, okay. Wow, you got points. Congratulations.
We're so proud.
So
of
who
you.
would we just give points to? Or who would I just give points to?
This last one? That
Yeah.
was Casey O'Dell going on the board for the first time.
That's pretty fair. I say points.
So 100% of the entries this week received points.
I have my favorite, and that's, in my book, 3 is more than enough.
All right, then Adrian Cotton is the winner.
Oh,
Unless Dan has
shit.
has another one
No,
he'd
that
rather.
one- No, that one's good.
All right. Now on to Facebook comments.
This week we look into, well, this became a Heyman post on the board, actually. What will the Authority do about the WWE World Championship situation with Daniel Bryan out with a neck surgery?
Oh, they just say with a neck.
With a neck. Daniel Bryan's out with a neck. Split the titles and brands also. Tired of watching the same superstars on both shows doing the same thing.
Why was this a general consensus?
75% of posts were in favor of a full roster split again.
Probably because 75% of the people who posted became fans after
The
2000.
greatest era.
Or 75% of posting fans are retarded.
Or 5. They can't be 3 years old.
Look,
I
all right, here's the thing. I'm going to throw this out there. I've been very, very good about not disagreeing with people for having an opinion instead of stating things as facts. In fact, that's one of the main reasons why Heyman has become such a thing. Because he doesn't state opinions. He states everything as fact. And then when you counter his fact, he goes, well, that's just your opinion. But any wrestling fan on the planet who has half a brain should be in favor of there being one world champion in your company.
when you have two
End of
world
discussion.
champions, you have 0 world champions.
Yeah, it really, really waters it down.
When you have 2 top guys, you have 0 top guys.
Go back and watch anything on the network prior to the brand split, any of those pay-per-views, and see what a big deal the titles matches all are. Then go watch brand split pay-per-views
See how
and-
dead the crowd is,
and see how the crowd reacts. Exactly.
see how much there's only certain champions that got over in the brand split era, and like Punk was the only one who I thought was really stuck out as being important in a lot of that.
Because he actually had a decent reign.
Right. When he had that title, the other title really didn't even matter.
Right.
It was the Intercontinental title. If you notice, I'm sure I've said this on the show before, or we brought up the point that Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, where are all these guys now? They're in the U.S. and IC divisions.
Right.
They're former World Heavyweight Champions.
Here's another thing.
Christian, too.
If you're in favor of the brand extension, okay, you're in favor of the brand extension. And if you believe the only way the 2 titles would work is to keep split brand pay-per-views, fine. But, again, I'm going to throw some more facts at you. Split brand pay-per-views did awful in terms of box office draw and crowd reaction. They did awful. That's why they were ended so quickly when they became so oversaturated. There's a reason it only lasted a couple of years. I know what people are going to say, oh, well, if it was that bad, they would have ended it quicker. Not when you're hell-bent on making it work. You're not going to end it that quickly. And sometimes it takes a couple of years for everything to really sink in. It's the nature of the business. So you can be in favor for whatever you want, but don't try to sprout statistics and defend the brand extension as being successful, because it really wasn't in the long run. Alright, continue.
Ugh, I hope there's a new champion. I'm tired of seeing Daniel as a champion and his yes movement.
Danielle Bryan.
No, I spelled it right, just not capitalized.
Oh,
Of course.
so Daniel Bryan.
I'm tired seeing Daniel as a champion and his yes movement. Cena should never, ever be champ again.
I kind of agree with that person. Cena never needs to be champion again.
Don't you know I need to beat Ric Flair's record?
I'm getting pretty close, but if I don't beat it, that's okay. I'll still be happy. I still have my ticket and sit down in the arena with my knee pads on.
Next is a social experiment somebody tried to pull, and I will tell you the results of said experiment now. Like if you hate Daniel Bryan. Now, I estimated that this post was seen by at least 100,000 people, based on number of likes and comments at the time, estimated at the time of this person's posting and afterwards. How many likes do you think this post has that if you hit like, you hate Daniel Bryan?
I'm gonna play it safe and wager $1.
You're supposed to wager $1 after someone goes clearly over.
3 ain't enough, man. I need 5.
Oh, you should have went with 3 because they had 3 likes.
Oh! Hold on. Somebody else, follow me on Facebook. We're going to go add 2 more likes to that right now. Who's listening live? Dens, do it.
The next one is a good idea mentally, but a terrible idea in any kind of practice at all. And that is, make it an entire roster TLC match for the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Wow, okay.
It's going to be great when Yoshitatsu wins the world title.
Remember when you simulated this year's Royal Rumble and Xavier Woods won it?
Yeah, and then he wasn't in the Rumble. He was announced to be in the Rumble.
So it was Bad News Barrett.
Oh, yeah. And finally, I am a huge wrestling fan, but every time I read these comments, my IQ drops 10 points.
Give that man an internet.
That guy gets points.
Didn't even know he was competing.
That's awesome. Okay. Thanks to our 1-year anniversary, we actually got some pretty decent questions this week. Not a whole lot of them, but some really, really good stuff to discuss. So let's stick to our anniversary topic. And Glenn Kukin wants to know that now that we've been doing this for a year, what are the best and worst things that you can say about hosting a podcast? And of course, he also says maybe 3 of each will work unless you want to add more. And I know what Pat will say about that.
Great, now we have to come up with 5 of each for each of us.
Well,
jeez.
you know,
Why don't we go around the room? Around the studio. And we'll do one at a time. Pat, what
this
is...
single room we're totally
Yes.
all in together.
Of course. Pat, what's one good thing you love about doing the podcast?
one thing I love about the podcast is it gives us an outlet to talk about what we do and don't like in wrestling. It gives us, in my opinion, it's a free-flowing area of creativity. Like, we brought all these characters, real people, like Racist Vince and Brazzer Ramon and whoever else to the show, and people actually liked it, you know? Like, and we get to experiment. That's one thing. I like the creativity of the show.
Daniel?
Please, Daddy. I like doing the show. Just want to do it. Just doing it.
Oh, like Undertaker and Brock, just... That's how the podcast started, though. We were all in a chat, and we were like, you want to do it? And then Chris was like, you want to do it? And then Dan was like, you want to do it? And then we were like, yeah.
Okay, next Thursday we're going to do it. And then we did it.
And we were like, hey, we have no idea where to upload this or anything. We're just going to make a podcast. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where, like, I'm not looking forward to recording that day. But
The
then
show
while we're
did debut on a
recording,
Wednesday.
while we're recording, I'm having, like, freaking a great time, you know? So it's like, no matter where I am mentally or whatever before the show, I'm just like, it's the show. And I just gave 2 thumbs up, but no one can see it.
Well, we saw it because we're in the studio with you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right here in Kafabe Studios.
And what about yourself, Christopher?
If I had to pick one thing in particular about the show that I absolutely love doing, it's just the fact that we have such a great community who listens into the show. I love doing the live chats during the show when we can. This is kind of a special circumstance because I was away last week. Dan was away. Pat was working, so it was hard to line up our schedules. But my favorite part is to do the questions, do the interactive segments. The @CK game now I think has been really successful. I love the Facebook comments. I love the fact that we do stuff on this podcast that other podcasts simply do not do, which helps us stand out and be unique. Because let's be honest here, there are a shitload of wrestling podcasts, tons and tons of them, including hundreds using the word kayfabe in some capacity. But we have a show that's very uniquely us that we have fun with, and we're doing it in spite of the fact that, you know, we may not be getting thousands and thousands of listeners. We may only be getting hundreds at best. But we're doing
Dozens and dozens.
But we're doing it because it's fun, and we like doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I would
shit.
love...
That's 2 reasons to do things.
I would absolutely love it if we had a set time to go live every single week and we were actually getting paid for it. That would be the dream. And it would be awesome. Even if we had to go 2 or 3 times a week with just smaller versions of the show, but they're just like, hey, we're going to pay you to do this. You just have to be available at this time. We would make it work. But for now, we just do it because we have fun, and we do it because you guys listen. Now, as far as something that you don't particularly enjoy about doing the show that could be difficult, I know we had another question in here somewhere from Adrian Cotton. What was the hardest part about doing the show? So, Pat, what would you say is the hardest part?
My dick. I would say watching all the wrestling and trying to really I think that's sometimes the most annoying part is we want to be able to talk about something, but we want to be able to have watched it all and be like, well, look, we're wrestling experts, obviously. There's just so much wrestling in a week, and this week I was just like, I don't feel like talking about any of this shit. It's the same thing. They're in a holding pattern. So for me, yeah, it's watching so much wrestling and trying to make sure that you get the proper notes, because wrestling for me it's never going to be like it used to be where I remembered the things that happen week to week. I'm just like, I watch the show and then I forget. I'm just like, I really don't care.
Dan?
We were talking about the most difficult and / the worst part of the show.
Yeah, something that you don't particularly enjoy about it.
I'm going to say what you're going to say because I know you're going to say it. And that's coming up with the goddamn time we're all together to do the show.
Yeah. It can be very difficult on a weekly basis to get us together.
And then you spend 2 days thinking, all right, Sunday at 1, and then all of a sudden, wah, wah, I got called into work. Fuck you, 8 p.m. now.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, then I'll do something completely different. For me, the hardest part about the show, and the part I particularly don't enjoy, is actually trying to keep the time frame short. And we have failed to do that for 51 consecutive weeks. Actually, 53 if you count those 2 specials that aired in regular show portions. So yeah, to me is it's also the worst and the hardest part because every now and again I try to move the show along and sometimes it just doesn't happen. And
We've got more bits to get in.
I think if we
Gotta get all
actually
our
had
spots in.
if we had a strict
Gotta get our shit in.
exactly if we had a strict schedule, like somebody was like, I'm going to pay you to do this show on this day, but you're only going to get an hour time slot, it would be a lot different because then we'd actually have to keep track of the time. I keep track of the time anyway, just to keep us from going over 2 hours at times, which, as you guys know in the past, clearly doesn't happen, especially if we have a very talkative guest on.
I think we have a pretty concise podcast, though, considering, because I know some wrestling podcasts that go up to like 4 hours or so.
And that's just too much. I can barely sit through 3 hours of Raw. I'm not going to sit through 4 hours of you talking about Raw on top of that. All right, let's see. Do we have another good podcast question to answer? Should we start getting into our... Oh, here's a question we have to do right now. Matt Hardman wants to know what your favorite CJ Hardman story is. Okay, before I tell any CJ stories, because I've got a couple, I want to make this very, very clear. I rag on CJ a lot, but he actually is a legitimate friend. This is not the same thing as Hey Man or anything like that. This is me ragging on someone like Shin or Joe. CJ is a very close friend of mine. He's one of my best friends, actually. And I do love him like a brother. Now, it's not to say that he doesn't have his quirks.
And he's not one of mine, so fuck him.
He doesn't have, he's got his quirks like anybody else does. And those are going to be the stories I'm going to tell.
Oh man, so many burgers. Delicious, delicious burger.
No.
Ass.
We already killed kayfabe on Heyman Antonio. You're not killing kayfabe on this one. All right. Favorite CJ Hardman story. I know the obvious one that everyone's going to say is when he got speared at the Grand Slam Wrestling show, which was pretty awesome to see CJ take his first bump.
CJ's first bump.
But I've got another story for you. This one actually happened.
Taking one more bump than I have.
This is like a 2-day story that happened while he was visiting in Florida. While I was doing my internship for Disney, John Salinas, Chris Decker, Joe Image, Mike Simsak, and CJ Hardman all came down for a week to visit. CJ's parents actually own a timeshare on Disney property, so they all stayed there. And we had fun. We park hopped. We hung out in the lazy river. I'm sure as soon as I mention that, Joe's going to get fond memories and immediately start planning his next trip. Because every time we bring up that lazy river, that's all Joe cares about.
This is like the lazy river where you just sit in an inner tube.
Yeah.
And little waterfalls hit you with water.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best thing ever. So, that Tuesday night, which actually happened to be election night when Barack Obama won the presidency.
Barack Obama.
Of course, being 2008.
My client!
We went out to Miller's Ale House in Orlando, which on Tuesdays, ladies drink free.
Woo!
And at the time, everybody except for Chris Decker was single. So it made sense. Simsak did not come out, despite the fact that he spent the entire trip talking about how badly he wanted to get laid while he was in Florida, and then he missed girls drink free night. But
Well,
but CJ came out.
is Mike single or is he half?
Oh,
Man, that's low.
Ducky.
Damn. Damn.
Shame on the WWE Universe for saying that.
Damn.
Oh, like when Mama breaks the plates.
Well, I was thinking of the guy who gets the Five Guys burgers and fries, but yeah.
So before the drinks started pouring in, CJ was like, "Hey, if I get annoying, just let me know and I'll stop."
Did you already preemptively?
I'm sorry, but you woke up this morning.
So Joe and John spent half the night cock blocking each other over a girl, which was hilarious. Unless you're Chris Decker, who was a designated driver that night and voted Republican, so he was watching Barack Obama win the presidency sober and was really pissed off. But while Joe and John were competing over the ditziest girl I've ever met in my life, this girl named Robin, who really was clueless that two guys were hitting on her, CJ decided to throw his name into the hat. But every time words came out of his mouth, they were really, really loud, even too loud for, like, a bar. Drunk. And Todd Grisham was sitting next to us at a table and bought our table a pitcher or a bucket of Coronas, because he's actually a pretty nice guy, after Joe drunkenly marked out for him. And CJ just kept getting louder and louder, and then he would apologize.
Loud drunks.
Yeah. And then he would apologize for being so loud. On this type of a night, we were going to let it go. But a few nights later, we had a birthday party for John Salinas' now wife, Amanda. Mandy was, I don't remember how old she was turning that particular night, but we were going to celebrate. So we had the boys over. Simsack also skipped this one, but to be fair, I was living in a third-story apartment, so he wasn't getting access. And I'm actually saying that in the nicest way possible because he refused to come because he was afraid that nobody would be able to drunkenly carry him back down the stairs safely, which he was right about. Well, during this party, CJ, after attempting to hit on women and failing miserably, kissing girls on the cheek while their boyfriends were present and pissing them off, passes out in a chair in the middle of the party. So we did what any mature person would do. We crumpled up Doritos and left them on his face. Now,
You
if
have
you
a Doritos mustache and beard.
I know, Pat, I know you don't drink, and Dan, I know you don't get drunk. But if you guys were to pass out at a party and somebody fucked with you, would you take it in stride, or would you get really pissed off at people?
I mean, it would kind of be my fault. I got drunk and passed out, wouldn't it?
Well, he did not appreciate this, and he did not react to it very kindly. So, that causes future incidents to happen. So, one time he passed out while we were having a barbecue at Joey Image's apartment, so we left, like, a hot dog on his crotch, and we were just messing with him. And we were taking pictures of what we were doing, and he came in all pissed off that this happened again. He's just like, you guys are dicks. Well, yeah, but we know it bothers you, so we're going to keep doing it.
And yet he hasn't learned the lesson of don't get drunk and pass out in the middle of a party.
I also asked CJ to be the usher at my wedding, and all he did was stand there and go, sit anywhere you want. Sit anywhere you want. Don't escort anybody to their seats if they're elderly or anything. Just stand there and talk. But I'll say this. At least CJ ushed. I asked Simsack to be an usher too, and he literally rolled right in and picked his own seat. And didn't do anything.
Not like he has much of a choice.
He can't pick anyone else's seat.
So, Matt, those were some stories about your brother. I hope you enjoyed them.
I feel like he would have been an excellent parking attendant. Park anywhere you want. Park anywhere you want. I have a funny story from the Fozzie show, actually. Well, that I thought was funny. Because Joe and I were off to the side, and the Fozzie merch table had like 2 T-shirts, 2 CDs, two leather bracelets, and like an 8x10. And CJ
such gimmick, Murray.
Such gimmick. So CJ goes up to the table and he's looking, and then Joe comes up to me like 15 minutes later, and he's like, "What the fuck is CJ looking at?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's still looking at the gimmick table. And he's like, "Holy fuck, dude!" He's like, he's been staring at that thing for like a half hour.
There's like 8 things on the table.
There's 8 things, and then I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, maybe he's just really intent on one thing, and he's making sure like he spends the money on the right thing. And then, like 2 hours later, he's back at he's back on the escalator again. Now he's back at the merch table.
That kid is at the merch table again.
And Joe's like, "What is with him? It's not like there's a million things to choose from. There's like 7. I said, "Joe, somebody probably bought something from the table. They put a new one out, so CJ need to go touch that one too." And I think he has OCD.
Had to go lick it.
Or we went to the pizzeria, and Joe gets like 2 slices of pepperoni pizza, and then CJ's like, "Can I get a slice of cheese?" And then Joe's just like literally a slice of cheese, or
like Kraft singles.
That's amazing. That's a great CJ story.
Here's your goddamn Kraft single.
That's a really simple one, but it's timely. It happened recently.
All right, I can't. I will let Joe the next time he's on the show tell the Kafave story, because I can't. I can't do it
can't
justice.
even.
All right, let's move on from CJ discussions now onto something related back to the subject of our show.
Oh,
Adrian,
we're doing a show?
yeah. So Adrian Cotton wants to know, his son just recently learned to ride a bicycle. Would I be wrong if I told people repeatedly, my son Emerson Wayne Cotton conquered his bike?
No, in fact, you should follow him as he's riding his
should
bicycle.
be the only thing you say from now on.
Right. You should
Son!
you should
Emerson
walk
Wayne
him
Cotton.
to class, and you should do that in front of all of his classmates.
You see that kid right there? He doesn't know how to ride two wheels.
You
Yeah,
should
Javon.
introduce your son to his classmates every day in that way.
Introduce some other kid, but always mention your son.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm here
Get the sirens ready.
with the king of the swings.
Yeah, if you're not doing that, Adrian, then you're parenting wrong. Okay, this next question's from Jason Shin, and guess what? It's about sex,
Oh, really?
of course.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me.
No,
talk
let's
about
not.
all the good things and the bad things.
You better buy that song.
Oh, yeah, because salt and pepper.
Okay. Shin says, I saw a post this week that said the only way I could have sex with Lana was to also have sex with Alexander Rusev. I would totally take one for the team. So he wants to know if the same thing applied to Hey Man or Hey Manya, would any of us take one for the team in order to get to Lana afterwards?
No,
Nope.
no, you sick
wait.
fuck.
I'm saying, okay, so you're saying that we would have to have coitus with Heyman, but upon completion we would have coitus with Lana.
With Heymanya.
Correct.
Now I'm gonna have to go ahead and decline this one.
Are you sure there's not another way around this? No.
I mean, Lana's hot, but she ain't that hot.
No, plus there's all that sweat and body hair and ugh.
I know, Lana's disgusting, isn't she?
Okay. Matt Hardman's got two questions here that kind of sort of go hand in hand, so let's answer them at the same time.
In my book, dis ass is better than dad ass.
Of course.
So since Daniel Bryan,
Of course.
since Daniel Bryan announced that he's going to need surgery and will be out, where do you think everything that's been built up with the Authority is going to go? And do you see them putting the title back on Cena for the time being? Well, unfortunately,
Nope.
because Raw is currently airing while we're recording, that's probably being answered right now. So let's jump to our next question. With Bryan's injury and the drop in stock price, do you think it's time for Vince or Prince Adam, which is what he calls Hunter? Do you think it'd be time for them to pick up the phone and bring back some of the legends and stars to help jumpstart and distract from behind-the-scenes speed bumps lately? I hear there's a guy in Chicago who's got a lot of free time.
He's
I
also
think
getting
it's-
married in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
If it would help in the long run, do whatever it takes. If it's only going to be a short-term fix, it might not be worth it.
I know it would take a lot, and I say honestly, at this rate, they should try anything they can to get Punk back. I feel like he's that guy that they could rely on if, you know, if things went down the shitter, if they didn't do what they did to him in the first place.
This could be the chance. The only thing is, Punk is going to have to address the crowd when he comes back and explain why he walked out on them, which I know there are still fans out there that are pissed about that and would probably boo him
Why
upon his
Austin
return.
never had to come back and explain
Yeah,
why he
you know
left.
what? Those fans must love their job and have never thought they were being mistreated and had, I hate when people act like that. They're like, oh, how dare he leave us? He doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah, he was getting screwed. You got to see it from his point of view. And that's just it. It's too selfish. Everybody's like, well, he was being
He wasn't
selfish.
happy with the
Well,
way he was being used. He wasn't happy with the way his friends were being used. He wasn't happy with pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And he had the balls to do something about it. And, of course, fuck him for having the balls to do something to change his life.
Would you have rather seen them do a screw job thing like in Montreal to Punk? The Chicago screw job? No, you wouldn't have, because then everybody would have revolted.
Well, Payback's in Chicago and CM Punk is in Chicago.
He's got a ton of money, and he's got AJ Lee. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah, he's pretty set.
His best friend's pretty awesome. I mean, come on, man.
So, here's a CM Punk
WWE
question.
Network's only $10 a month. I mean,
He's
come on.
skinny and a fat ass.
Yeah. Let's answer Jason Shin's next question, because it's about CM Punk.
I miss Punk.
How long will CM Punk have to be absent from wrestling before the wrestling sites stop reporting on everything he does?
Until he dies, or until he shows up again.
Yeah, actually, I think that's the answer.
I like absent, like they're marking, like it's a classroom.
No, if he misses one more episode of Raw, he'll have to repeat this grade.
He'll have to repeat this year. No, not this year.
Do you think fans are actually beyond the point where they believe that this is not a work anymore? Because even if he comes back
Nope.
tomorrow, I still feel like people are going to go, it was a work
I
this whole
was
time.
right.
People will still say that. No matter when. He could come back 10 years from now, and people will be like, it was a work the whole time. Just like just like at WrestleMania 60, it's, all of a sudden Eddie Guerrero's music's going to come, hit, and then he's going to come up and be like, I lied! I wasn't dead, Holmes!
He'd be dead by then. Jeez.
Yeah, he'd be in his hundreds.
WrestleMania, yeah, he'd be like 100.
And then Benoit's just going to shed some tears down in hell because he's like, I thought you were dead. You worked me.
He got worked. That's the biggest rib ever.
Maybe they'll reopen the case and Kevin Sullivan will admit that he killed them, and then all of a sudden Benoit will be back on the network. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. People will be like,
His matches will be listed in the chapters.
yeah.
Shows. You see a big gap in the chapter listing of a show? There's a Benoit match there. Like, there's got to be like at least 45 minutes of a show with nothing going on. Benoit match.
Just
Yep.
like editing out New Jack matches.
Because why not?
They kept in when Vic Grimes landed on his face. Because it's time to go, Vic. Oh, no!
Speaking of storylines, Matt Hardman asks, what happened to the big Roman Reigns push? Does creative have ADD, or was he not the breakout star they imagined?
He won the match at the pay-per-view, bro.
He won the match at the pay-per-view, and also they realized that the Shield is even more valuable as a babyface team.
Yeah, the Shield is still insanely over, so there's no point in breaking them up.
Every time they think they got one of them to be the breakout star, the other two like come right up and they're just like, shit.
Damn it, Rollins!
We can't just take one of you. All of a sudden, the other two of you become important again. And it's just, we can't push all three of you. I mean, it's not like we have three separate rosters with equal champions.
That would be the best. Finally, all three members of the Shield are champions.
Why does no one ever talk about that Matt Hardy's a former world champion?
Because he's not.
Oh, you get points, Dan.
Also, speaking of storylines, Adrian Cotton asks, what are your respective opinions of the "they're holding me back" storyline, like they like to give people, who often lead to nothing, with the example being what Damian Sandow is doing.
They hold people down with the "they're holding me down" storyline. It's the best.
Remember when MVP lost everything, and then he lost everything?
Yeah, because all those things that he had like 3 years before.
And they're like, oh, he's finally
paid off.
He had a losing streak for like 6 months, and then he's like, oh, Triple H's like, I hope you beat the Big Show. Oh, look, you just lost to MVP. He's a loser. I think it was the Big Show. I don't even remember.
Probably. That sounds like something that would have happened.
Didn't he like won his first match because Benoit beat the shit out of the person or something like that? Something.
Okay, the next
two
questions...
like, he's going to win Money in the Bank. And you're like, no.
No, it's always, with that gimmick, it's always, just wait. Let's wait and see where they go with this. Let's wait and see where they go. Let's wait and see where they go. And you wait and wait and wait and wait, and you're like, well, I shouldn't have waited. I should have just said it was shit from the start.
Okay. Next two questions that go hand in hand here. What were some... do you think the new TV deal WWE recently signed is a good or bad thing?
Well, look at their stock price.
And speaking of that, the follow-up question was from Matt Awesome. What do you think WWE will do now to try to rebound from their recent loss in revenue? I guess we'll be able to answer that next week when we actually watch the shows to see what they're going to do.
I don't think it's going to be the TV program being any better. I think it's just going to be changing around things behind the scenes, possibly.
Maybe Vince will officially name his successor and a date that he's going to step aside.
Yes.
Because he still hasn't officially named Triple H as his successor.
Nope.
What I was upset about with this new announcement is I was hoping you have your own network, you have your own distribution. Why don't we have day after replays on your network yet? I mean, you have the ability to house your entire product.
Yeah. It would be nice.
Come on, man. I want to get rid of Hulu Plus.
And Chevy had a question. Would it benefit WWE at all to move SmackDown from Sci-Fi and have it on the network on Tuesdays? I heard that rumor that it was going to go live on Tuesdays. I think that's a great idea, but if they do it on the network, I really don't think that would benefit them. Because that's a lot.
If they're actually going to have SmackDown air live, it needs to be like Thursday or Wednesday, or even Friday.
You can't have Monday, Tuesday, and have it all kind of like bunched up.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much air Main Event live now, but that's exclusively on the network.
Yep.
Okay. Our last two questions are not wrestling related, they are video game related. Starting with Adrian Cotton, what were some of your favorite games for the Sega and or Super Nintendo?
Well, I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so I was a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Earthworm Jim. Wow. What else did I play on?
NBA Jam.
Yeah, NBA Jam was good. Cool Spot.
Cool Spot was awesome.
Cool Spot is amazing. What else was there?
Streets of Rage series.
Yes. Streets of Rage. Played a lot of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2 particularly, I think.
Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist was what it was called on Genesis.
On Genesis, yeah. I had that.
And it was almost the exact same game as Turtles in Time, except for they were going for the Hyperstone, and there was like one level different.
And it was almost exactly the same game as Streets of Rage. It was just like, here's the elevator level.
Yep. Classic beat 'em up.
Break his neck.
Be his friend.
Yeah, I did not have a Sega. I had Super Nintendo, so of course, Mario World, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past was a favorite of mine.
You gotta tell me Super Mario RPG was up there.
Super Mario RPG was such an amazing game. One of the best games ever made. and it desperately needs a successor, a real
Well,
sequel.
I liked, what was it, Thousand Year Door on GameCube? I love that game.
Yeah, they've had some good RPG style games, but they really need a
The
successor
paper ones.
to that game.
Oh yeah, that's right, that was Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Thousand
Kirby
Year Door.
Superstar, which is one of the best Kirby games ever made. There were a
What
ton
else
of
did I
them.
play on Genesis.
The Mega Man X series. Those games were friggin' awesome.
Oh, the X-Men games on Genesis. The first one, which was like, you had to press the reset button once you got to Mojo, but nobody told you that, and you were afraid you would accidentally reset your console.
Yeah, and you're like, this game's not over. I've seen the demo footage of other levels, and I never got there. I never knew how you do that.
And if you didn't press the reset button in enough time, it was just game over. But they didn't tell you to do that. You had to figure it out. What was the second X-Men game? Because that one was really good.
Well,
It was like-
first X-Men game, the entire game is inside the danger room, isn't it?
Yeah, you keep going into the danger room, and then you exit it, but it's all like simulations until you go face Magneto.
In the second one, you have
what was
like
the-
different characters.
What was the Ninja Turtles beat 'em up on that system?
I said it's the
Turtles in
Hyperstone
Time.
Heist.
Turtles
It
in
was
Time.
Hyperstone Heist on Genesis and Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time is super.
on Super.
So good. Super Nintendo, man. Well, if you guys are following my blogs, we're going to get to Super Nintendo. After you guys finish the NES list, which only 20 of you have, so working on that. Oh, I did take a week off because I was on vacation, but still.
Oh, Sonic and Knuckles, because you could attach that to all the other games.
Well, not one. You can only attach it to 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then you realize half of these levels are really cheap playing as Knuckles.
Yep.
You just get up as high as you can, and then you do his glide across the entire level.
And you're like, you're like 75 feet up in the air, and you just hear the sound of the end of the level where you hit that little spinner.
The little Rapadoo!
And Robotnik was like, or Eggman was really easy because once you had the glide, you just went right through him, and then you turned around him 2 more times.
Just punched him in the face. Knuckles the Ichinda.
The last video game question from Jason Shin. He wants to know, where do we fall in each of the following scenarios? And he creates a couple of game console versus game console scenarios. Basically, all the Gen
Generational.
Wars. Yeah. The first
Okay,
one
here we
is
go.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis.
I just think it is.
Super Nintendo. Okay, next one is Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, PlayStation.
I was N64 and PlayStation.
Yeah, I owned an N64, and I loved my N64, but the PlayStation did have some of the best games ever.
I didn't own any of them, but I played more N64 because wrestling games were better on the end.
Cause wrestling games, cause GoldenEye.
Yep.
Yeah, we could get into that one. We could get into the insane amount of great
There were some
N64
really
games.
terrible games on the N64 though too, but there were amazing games and absolutely terrible games.
I think that was the N64's mantra. Either this game was Super Mario 64 or it was Superman 64.
Yeah, that's the way they've been since then.
That's true, actually.
They've been the
I noticed.
shovelware machine.
I noticed nobody said Sega Saturn. I only knew one person who owned a Sega Saturn.
Oh boy, can't wait to play Virtua Fighter.
I played some baseball game on the Saturn.
That was when you knew Sega was going downhill because every game was there was Virtua Cop, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Poop.
Ball
I don't
game.
know. Yeah.
Virtua Poof. The next one, of course, is the Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Dreamcast warfare.
PlayStation 2 started so early, it was miles ahead before anybody else had a console out.
PlayStation 2, and then, like you said, GameCube had some amazing games, a lot of them wrestling games,
Yeah.
and some absolutely abysmal ones.
Yeah. Plus,
The
that controller
Dreamcast
wasn't that good.
The Dreamcast was so unfortunate. If the Dreamcast happened when the Sega Saturn, like in place of the Sega Saturn, I feel like we'd still be talking about 4 consoles to this day.
Well, the problem with the Dreamcast is that you could almost literally burn the game on your computer and it will work in the Dreamcast.
Shenmue.
It was like that easy to pirate games for the Dreamcast.
I did own a GameCube. I still own a PS2. Never owned an original Xbox. The GameCube pissed me off
the
because
Xbox was great because it had the hard drive in it, and it had better online functionality, and it had a slightly better graphics edge. The problem is it came out like 3 years after everything else.
although it did lead to the 360, which is the next part. And of course, the next part is Wii, PS3, 360.
I started with 360 for a long time, and then I switched over to PS3 because I think I like a lot of their first-party titles. I think they're fantastic. And plus, I don't need to buy Xbox Live to do stuff, which I heard now you may not need to do soon.
Yeah, it's going to happen before my gold expires, which is perfect.
Good, because they really ripped customers off with that, I felt. But I really like my PS3. I'm really happy with it. So, but I was on the 360 bandwagon for a long time. I never gave a shit about the Wii.
The Wii was really cool when it first came out, and I loved it. But
Wii
eventually,
is
it got
cool
to
when
that
you
point.
have a bunch of company over and then you all start playing bowling. And
Or
then
your
you put
babies.
the Wii- But then you put the Wii away and you don't play it again until the next party.
Hey, you know something else about the Wii? It's like the N64 and GameCube. It's got some amazing games, but a lot of shit.
I think even more so shit though. Like there are
That
there are
was-
like 3
that was
amazing
the
titles.
The shovelware generation.
Too many people made games to just for the Wii, like the Wii. What do you want to say? Like the experience of playing it that way.
The experience of jerking you off.
The experience of just having a motion control. Like the game didn't have to have any point. It was just like, oh look at me, I'm driving a car.
But I will say this: the Wiimotes have always been more consistent than the Kinect. Always.
Well, no shit. There's actually something physically there tracking
Yeah.
tracking
Kinect
movement.
Kinect is terrible. Still own a Wii and a 360.
As do I. Well,
And
technically
now-
the Wii isn't mine, but we have the Wii in the living room.
And now,
Dan almost had a PS3.
I
Almost.
almost a few times.
Okay. And of course, the last part of this falls into Wii U, PS4, Xbox One.
Don't have any of those systems and don't really care yet.
Own a Wii U, want a PS4, have no interest in Xbox One.
You can now pre-order Xbox One without the Kinect, so there's no spying on you now.
Yes.
No spying, wink wink.
But I still want a PS4.
Yeah, I'm looking for PS4 sometime. I don't know, maybe never. But my sister has a Wii U upstairs. I can play when-ish ever I want. Which, by the way, Christopher, are we friends on there yet? Still?
I'm getting to it, damn it.
Well, by now you have to send me a message again.
All
You
right.
only get a month. You only get a month to request somebody as a friend, and I've done it twice, and Chris has not answered either time.
Sorry. I'll get to that, I promise. All right, guys. We're going to close the show now, but this is our one-year anniversary show. So we got a treat for you guys. For tonight, maybe not one night only, but for tonight at least, we are bringing back Wrestle Peace Theater.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to Wrestle Peace Theater.
I thought you started because it starts with welcome.
I was like, that's your
Tonight's-
Michael Cole?
No. Tonight's entry is a fan fiction by Wakuri.
Wakoo!
WQUUEU.
Yes, that's the username. It's called WWE Raw Story, and the description or the synopsis is, I am creating my own version of Raw.
That just prepares you for what's about to happen.
Yes, it is rated Fiction T. It's in English. It is adventure/humor.
I
and it
wouldn't
was
say it's
published-
in English.
It was published May 15th, which is the technical anniversary of our show, May 15th, so it's only fitting. But I need to point this out. This episode of Raw that this guy is writing about, or girl, I'm not sure, is not a current episode of Raw. It takes place on December 3rd, 2006. So this is actually a classic Raw. And I want you guys to keep that in mind when you hear who shows up. Remember, this is December 3rd, 2006.
Oh my god! I just noticed something that's ridiculous. Something. One thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I would also like to point out that, because I just looked it up, December 3rd, 2006 was a Sunday.
Of course it was.
Sunday Night Raw.
Now remember, this episode of Raw predates December to Dismember.
Predates December to Dismember. Oh, and just to cover all of my bases, I did the British version, 3/12/06. March 12th was also a Sunday. So on this Sunday night in 2006 is where our story begins.
About Monday Night Raw begins.
And here we go, guys.
Sunday Raw Sunday.
Who's starting us off?
I thought you were going to be Cole. I could do Cole. Welcome to Monday Night Raw, and we are here in Winnipeg, Canada, where hometown superstar Chris Jericho will make his presence known as he addresses the universe
Scott
later. Oh
Steiner.
my!
Scott Steiner.
He will make his pre-science known as he addresses the universe later, says Cole. This is Jerry Lawler's line.
Jerry.
God, we
You
have
have
an
to-
amazing card for you guys, and we have all three members of the Shield set for action against the trio of R-Truth, Kurt Angle, and Batista. We also have a triple threat WWE Championship match between John Cena, The Miz, and Randy Orton.
Says the King. I love that R-Truth, Kurt Angle, and Batista are fighting the Shield in 2006. CM Punk's music starts, and he walks out and gets down to the ring, picks up a mic. By the way-
Welcome.
We are reading this verbatim, the way this person wrote this fan fiction, by the way. For those of you who haven't heard this before.
Okay, I've never done a Punk voice, so let's... This is gonna be terrible. Welcome to the first I'm not even gonna try. Welcome to the first episode of Monday Night Raw, and I am the best in the world, CM Punk. So I want to see if anyone in that locker room can beat the best in the world.
Says CM Punk. Curtis Axel's music hits.
CM Punk, I'm going to beat you right here, right now, and I will become the Intercontinental Champion at the Great American Bash 2014.
8 years in the future.
Says Axel as he runs towards the ring.
So,
Oh, you should have been
I'm
winded
blown
during
up.
that.
Curtis Axel started attacking Punk as the match started with a couple of jabs, then Punk countered one by throwing him into the corner, then hit knee to face, throwing him down with a running bulldog.
CM Punk already calling for the go to sleep. CM Punk picks him up. GTS 1, 2, 3.
The winner of this contest, CM Punk, says the announcer.
CM Punk is my CM Punk. My name is Chairman of the Board, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You should know I hired you,
says Mr. McMahon.
Oh, the big dog came on out to congratulate me on my victory over Curtis Axel and tell me that I have a WWE Championship match at the Great American Bash. Isn't that right, Vincent K. McMahon?
Says CM Punk with vigor on his face.
Not so fast, CM Punk. You have to earn that, but now I got to tell you that you have another match, and it is against the World Heavyweight Champion Edge.
Says Vincent K. Edge comes out to his music with the title around his waist like normal.
His waist.
And his waist, yeah. And comes down to the ring. The announcer announces the Rated R Superstar. The match starts, and they both lock up, CM Punk pushing Edge into the corner.
Ooh, ah!
Edge starts punching back at CM Punk,
yes!
But gets a kick to the head, knocking
Best
Edge back.
in the world.
CM Punk goes for GTS, and Edge gets out of it and hits Edgecution on Punk.
Yes, say something!
Edge picks up Punk to his feet and does a backbreaker. 1-2, no a kick out.
No.
CM Punk, a 3-time world champion. Edge sizing CM Punk up for the spear.
Spear!
He gets up, Edge misses, CM Punk kick to the head, 1-2, a kick out by Edge. Punk hits Edge with a punch, Edge returns with his own punch, Edge starts punching quicker, and CM Punk hits him with a clothesline. CM Punk then puts his hands together, sizing up Edge for the GTS. CM Punk picks up Edge, he gets out of it, spear by Edge!
Yes, you son of a bitch!
1, 2, 3, Edge's theme begins, and he is seen grabbing his World Heavyweight Championship and walking out of the ring. Shield's music starts as they begin attacking CM Punk. Dean Ambrose and Seth
They're just there? They just came out of nothingness?
So Dean Ambrose and Seth Pick, because Pick is capitalized, so that's his last name.
Seth Pick is his name.
And Seth Pick up Punk as Roman spears him. All three
At the same time?
All three put their, T-H-E-R-E, fists together, and then walk out leaving CM Punk in pieces.
What an explosive start to Monday Night Raw, and already CM Punk got speared by Edge in a non-title match,
says Cole.
WrestleMania 1 is being made for April 15th,
says Jerry.
We have a one-on-one match between the Enigma, Jeff Hardy, and Batista to want the WWE Championship again, and this is their opportunity. Winner will get an advantage next week when they choose their stipulation for next Raw for #1 contenders match.
Says Cole.
Both of these superstars surely deserve it, huh?
Says Jerry the King. The Miz's music begins, and he walks down to the ring.
I have a problem with a certain wrestler by the name of MVP, or some may call Montel Vantavius Porter. He has been trying to keep me out of the hunt for the WWE Championship again,
says Miz. Wade Barrett runs up behind Miz, knocking him down. Then MVP runs out, and they attack Miz. Big Show's theme starts as he comes to save Miz, giving a knockout punch to MVP. Wade slides under, grabbing MVP along with him as they get away from the prime and ready Big Show. Teddy Long comes out.
Wait up, player! Right now we have a tag team match between the Big Show and the Miz versus MVP and Wade Barrett,
says Teddy. Commercial. Yes, there are commercial breaks in this fan fiction.
It's not even a complete sentence. Match has started, and Big Show has started his attack on the former United States Champion MVP,
says Cole. Miz is tagged in by Show, and Miz hits MVP with a running knee and pins.
1, 2, a kick out, and Miz and Show are reeling against the team MVP and Wade Barrett,
says Jerry. Brock Lesnar theme starts, and he walks out with Paul Heyman.
Miz and MVP are distracted skull-crushing finale 1, 2, 3.
Says Cole. Miz's theme
Such
starts back up.
distracted, he wins the match.
Alex says Cole, Miz's theme starts back up.
Brock Lesnar just points at Miz and walks back into the locker room.
What could that mean? He gave him the victory, but it did not look like he meant to do that.
Says Jerry.
Well, one thing is for sure, MVP is not going to like that.
Says Cole. I like how you guys are actually making this better by adding shit to it. Cody Rhodes' theme begins.
Cody Rhodes, a former Intercontinental Champion, looking to get a win on his road to WrestleMania.
Says Cole. This is apparently a Jerry quote
Jerry
coming
Lawler
up.
doesn't have any quotes to start what he says.
We have 3 stops before WM1 in the Great American Bash. Then the Royal Rumble and the What the fuck?
The Elimination Chamber. And
And the last of all, WrestleMania.
we have 3 stops before WM1.
And freaking Great American Bash is like one of them?
It's a December pay-per-view now.
That is the worst idea ever.
Back to Cole. Or no, is this Jerry again, or is this Cole? No, this is Cole.
Oh wait, did you say the Denial Bryan theme starts? Is that where we are?
Yes. Denial Bryan theme starts, and the arena explodes with yes chants. The two shake hands before the match.
What a matchup tonight! 2 up-and-comers try to make a name for themselves.
Says Cole.
Denial Bryan has beaten Dolph Ziggler last week on Raw. Will he continue his hit streak?
Says Jerry.
Denial Bryan hits Cody with a few kicks, knocking Cody back into the ropes, and then Cody hit Bryan with a clothesline. Is he telling the story in post?
Says Cole.
Cody hits Bryan, throws him outside, and runs to the post, and does a somersault on Denial, then counters it into the yes lock. What?
Oh, I don't know what's happening.
He can't win from there. He is an idiot.
Oh, is he an idiot? He can't win from THEIR. Is
Yes.
he an idiot?
From there.
Says JBL as he breaks his silence.
But he can still I'll do damage.
Says Cole.
Oh, I can't stand this 195-pound wannabe Maggle. He is not a real man.
The Maggle was added by Pat. This person's not that clever. It says JBL mocking Denial Bryan. Cody Rhodes gets put into the ring, and as soon as Denial
Just
gets
put
back
there.
into, he gets a drop kick by Cody. Cody runs towards the ropes and goes for the disaster kick, and Denial ducks and kicks Cody, getting him on his knees, and yells yes as he kicks Cody in the chest, and then he picks up Cody, throws him into the corner, and runs at him, kneeing him, and gets back up, runs to opposite corner, and does it again. He lariats him.
Lariotes.
Lariots him, running knee, 1-2, a kick out at 2. Cody punches Denial Bryan and keeps it up. Lose Prez as he gives him a clothesline and then picks him up, runs the rope, disaster kick, 1-2, Noah kick out. Cody goes for Crossroads, and Denial gets out and goes for the yes lock, and Cody is trapped, but he works towards the ropes, and he gets it off.
Oh. Ugh.
God. Cody Rhodes gets back up, running knee by Denial Bryan, 1-2, no another kick out.
He kicked out twice on a Denial Bryan's finisher.
Says Jerry.
Cody is one tough son of a gun, Maggle.
Says JPL.
Denial Bryan is arguing with the ref.
Says Cole. Cody Rhodes get up behind him and hits Crossroads 1-2-3.
Cody Rhodes pulls off an unbelievable victory against Denial Bryan, Maggle.
Says JBL.
An impressive victory over Denial Bryan.
Says Jerry Lawler. Denial Bryan. I want a rematch on Raw next week. Says Cody Rhodes.
Do I want a rematch? Yes! Yes! Yes!
says Danielle Bryan.
Looks like that we already have a match next week on Raw. Cody Rhodes versus Daniel Bryan.
Commercial. Shield's theme starts as they come down to the ring. Dean Ambrose, the United States champion, will face Big E Langston next week in a champion versus champion match. But also we have CM Punk versus John Cena set for next week. Kurt Angle, R-Truth, and Batista music starts one after other, and all three run down to the ring.
Does one music stop before the other one hits, or do they just mesh?
Shield run out of the ring except for Roman Reigns. Commercial. The match has began, and both R-Truth and Seth Rollins are starting the matchup. R-Truth hits a series of... Yeah, R-Truth hits a series of punches on Seth as he clotheslines him.
Lines.
But Seth gets back up and rolls and tags in Roman. Roman bounces off the ropes and gives R-Truth a clothesline. Roman hits R-Truth.
How did he spell clothesline as two separate words there and then correctly right below it?
I don't know. Roman hits R-Truth with a suplex. And covers 1-2 kick out. Roman picks up R-Truth and he hits Roman with kick to the head and works toward the corner and tags in Kurt Angle. Clothesline by Kurt and another. Kurt is reeling German suplex and goes into the angle lock. The angle lock. Seth jumps in and saves Roman. R-Truth throws Seth out, but Dean then throws R-Truth out and Batista hits Dean with a spear. Roman gives Batista a Superman punch and throws him out of the ring. Kurt sizing Roman up, angle slams, Seth saves Roman. Wow. Kurt Angle instead hits the angle slam on Seth, spear by Roman 1-2-3. The winners, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns the Shield. What an amazing... Oh, sorry.
What an amazing Raw we have just watched. The Shield has been plowing through obstacles and just showed an impressive match against Angle, Batista, and R-Truth.
Says Cole.
I am very excited for their WWE Championship match next on Monday Night Raw.
Says Jerry. This time, instead of commercial being in parentheses, it's in asterisks.
Hello, guys. I am with the current WWE Champion, John Cena. What do you think about your competitors?
Asks Renee.
Wheel, I don't care. I'm here to show everybody I can defend my title and beat anybody who comes my way. And you your life, I'll be WWE Champion at WrestleMania 1.
Says Cena. The following will be our next WWE Championship.
No, that was all one sentence said by John Cena.
Yes. Oh God, this one's a mess. The following will be for the WWE Championship. First, the challenger weighing 245 pounds with a height of 6'3", The Miz. As he comes down to the ring, next the Viper Randy Orton is the next to come out to the ring. The WWE Champion John Cena, says the ring announcer. The battle has started and Orton and Miz go at Cena seemingly to beat the WWE Champ. Then Miz and Orton start punching until Orton hit a clothesline and started beating Miz up, but he countered into a neckbreaker pin, not even a 1 count. Miz favoring the leg of Randy so it would be easier.
Yes. Thank you.
John Cena comes in and tries to give the attitude adjustment to Miz, but Randy dropkicks Cena, then pins 1-2 a kickout.
Of course I kicked out at 2.
Miz gets up to a reeling Randy Orton as he gets a mean clothesline, then another, then scoop slam. Miz and Cena are in position for his trademark DDT. He goes to do the DDT, and Cena and Miz counter it, and throws him outside the ring, and Miz and Cena are back in the ring. Cena hits the flying forearm, then another. Miz tries to punch Cena, but misses back slam. He goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle.
You ain't nothing but dust on my shoulder.
Not awesome.
He connects waiting for the and Orton tries to hit the Urko, but Cena counters it, and Miz hit the skull-crushing finale on Cena, but as soon as he gets up. That was one paragraph. Orton hits his
My
patented
RKO.
his patented Arco because it's not capitalized. 1, 2, 3, and the winner, the new WWE champion, the Viper Randy Orton, and he picks Cena up as he connects with an Arco on him as Will.
Yes.
It seems like Orton was not done yet. Then Big Show comes
Will!
to save Miz, and Cena. Then the show ends. The American Bash won. What will happen?
Where are we? Are we still on Impact?
Thanks for reading the first episode of Raw. So that was the very first episode of Raw ever on December 3rd, 2006, building towards WrestleMania 1, even though Curtis Axel is going to wrestle in 2014. I'm exhausted.
I didn't realize John Cena had to say that all in one sentence until I was halfway through.
Dude, I got blown up reading that. Good thing that was the end of the show.
Wow.
I
have a headache.
Into the arena.
Trying to find my lines in that one was tough.
Well, guys, thanks for listening for the past year. It has been great, and here's to the next.
Yep, we're just going to mail it in from now on, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the year we actually put effort into this show, because now we're not going to anymore, because we've made it this far.
They ain't canceled us yet, Michael.
It all changed the day Matt Awesome left negative points territory.
Next week he'll be back.
Probably. He'll work pretty hard to get back into negative points territory.
But that's it for this week, everybody. Thank you for a great year. Keep spreading the word, and we'll keep bringing you the podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Later.
Bye.